What's up, everybody? So I'm not going to let this quarantine and coronavirus nonsense stop me from making a film Friday. But there's a little bit of a problem in that my lab is closed and it is a non-essential service, and I'm not going to get in there to develop film anytime soon. So the good news is I have a scanner at home, but I have no idea how to develop film. But I think I bought everything I need to try it, and I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works, and I'm going to record the process just because I think it's pretty interesting. So let me just give you the quick run through and show you what I got. So on my table, I think I have everything I need. So I like to shoot black and white, and so the first thing I got was some black and white film. So Ifrord, I love Ifrord film. This is a Delta Professional. This is a shot at ISO 100. And I have my Leica M6 I've been using with the 28 millimeter Summicron. And here's 2 rolls of film that have been exposed that I'm going to try to develop. Now, I did make a little bit of a mistake with that film in that I'm still learning how to get my Leica to rewind correctly. So when you pull the rewind lever, sometimes it'll spool up, and I thought that that meant that the spool was back, the film was back in the spool, but it wasn't. So I opened up the bottom of the camera, and there was some film that unfortunately got destroyed by the light. So I do think that there are a few exposures on each roll, though, so I want to try it anyways. So let me finish what I'm talking about here. I have the film. I got this kit from Ifrord. This is supposed to have everything you need to do the film development. Let's see if my camera can focus here. So this is your film developer, the stop bath, the fixer, and a wetting agent, all in a box. So this is enough to develop the 2 rolls that I have. So I'm going to give that a shot. I have the beakers for the chemistry. So I have to heat up water to a certain temperature and then put the solution in there. And then that should develop the film and fix it and stop it. I have a pair of white gloves for dealing with the film, a squeegee for drying the film, some clips, and then this thing is the bath. So once you get the rolls in there, you put it in there and put the chemicals in and shake it, and that will develop the film. And then this thing here is a kind of a dark room in a bag. So looks like a giant t-shirt. It's got 2 holes for you to put your arms through. And then once your arms are in there, basically you're sealing off all the light, and you can work to pop the spool open with that can opener looking thing and then put the film into the spool for development. So, if everything works well, I'll be able to get a few rolls developed and see if there's anything interesting on them. And then I have a high DPI scanner that I use to digitally scan the film so I can post on Instagram. So I'm going to try it. We're going to see if we can get through Film Friday today and get something posted. So stay tuned. Okay, so the very first step in the process is to get everything that's on this table inside of this bag. So I have to open up the film. While I'm in the bag, I need to pop the canister open, like so. And then once the canister's open, I have to get the lead out of the film and roll it in this spool and spool it, and then put it on this spindle and close it in the developing can. So I am going to attempt to load this bag up and do that now. Alright, so I got everything loaded up in my developer bag. So now I'm going to stick my hands on the inside and pop open the film canisters, cut the lead off with the scissors, and then basically take the film out and spool it into the spooler. But I can't forget this. I have to put this in there as well too, because once I'm done with the spool, I will put the spools inside of the developer can, if you will, and that will block out the light so that I can get the chemicals in. So I'm going to give this a shot. Alright, so that process is over, and it was a little bit more challenging than I thought it was going to be. But one tip I could give everybody is just to lay their tools out inside the bag in such a way that it makes sense to your hands when you get it in there. So your film, the canister, the scissors, the spools or the spindles, and then eventually the canister. And if you work your way kind of right to left, then it's a little bit easier to kind of deal with that sort of thing. So it took about 10 minutes, sped it up. So now it's time to just get the chemicals ready and get the water temperature up to speed or up to temperature, and get everything laid out so that we can start developing some film. So one thing I don't have is a stir stick. So I'm going to use a chopstick that I have that I'll just throw away when I get done with. And then I also don't have a thermometer, but I'm gonna just use a meat thermometer. It should work the same, just to make sure that the water is at the correct temperature according to what the film wants it to be. So the next step is to get the chemistry out and, I guess, try the development process, see what happens. So stay tuned. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is mix my chemicals for development. So inside of this Ifrord kit, there's a film developer, a stop bath, a fixer, and a wetting agent all in the same kit. And what you have to do is open up a spool of your film, and inside of the box there's going to be instructions on the ratios as well as the time for development for the particular film that you're going to develop. And on each of the chemicals there's a ratio. So in this one it says 100 milliliters and the rest is water up to 600 milliliters, so that makes a 5-to-1 ratio. And then this one is 19-to-1, and then 19-to-1 as well for the third one. So you just have to follow that as well as your water needs to be at 68 degrees. So I'm going to use this thermometer, and I already have my sink dialed into 68 degrees. So I should have the right temperature. So I'm going to mix these three, and then basically it also has times on here. So for the development, it takes 5 minutes. You're supposed to agitate it for 10 seconds every minute. Then the stop bath is 30 seconds, and then the fixing is another 5 minutes. And then after that, the wetting agent goes on, and I'll hang the film above my window here for drying. So I'm gonna give that a shot now and see how it goes. There we go. We're doing better. So I'm gonna take this out and check and see if I got anything on the film. And I did, unfortunately with this film, as I said earlier, I'm still learning my Leica and its nuances and quirks. And I hit the rewind. I opened the bottom of the film camera before the rewind was all the way done. I think that the frames in the beginning of the roll should still be there, but the ones I took at the end are not going to be there, more than likely, so it doesn't matter. We're learning. So I'm going to put these gloves on I got that are just microfiber, like a cotton glove. Should be able to put these on, and then I'm going to unroll these and see if we have any images on them. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm going to take the film off the first roll here and hang it up and see what happens. So. Ooh, there's images there. Cool. Yeah, as I thought, the images at the end of the film are not quite there. But I do see images. That's good. So I'm going to squeegee this dry here. And there are some pretty good images on there. So. I'm actually going to cut this quick so I can hang it up so it doesn't touch the sink, because the bottom of it is touching the sink. Got to move the camera here to get the scissors. This is pretty exciting. I've never developed film before, and to see something there on your first time is pretty cool. So that looks better. I'm going to give it just another run through quick here with the squeegee. Yeah, so this is the problem that I'm trying to figure out with my Leica. So I don't know if you can see that, but I was taking pictures, great, and then nothing. And that's on me. That's just a learning curve. But I'll figure it out. The thing about film is that it forces you to learn quickly because it is not cheap to shoot film. But there's something about it it's more visceral than digital photography. Because this is a process. That looks really good. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to the final part of the first vlog here. So I wanted to just show you guys what I caught on film and what I captured. So I did go through the process of scanning the film, and I decided not to film that process just because it's pretty long and it's pretty boring. Maybe someday I'll do a video just on the techniques that I use and the software that I use to scan the film and get it into Lightroom. But for now, I just kind of skipped ahead and did all that. So I just want to show you what I captured. So there's a photographer on YouTube that I follow by the name of James Windsor, and one of the quotes that he said is that great photography is when style meets substance. And I truly believe that. You have to have something interesting to shoot, and you have to also shoot that thing in a creative way. And so I feel like I achieved some of that here. But really the images that I took are just the things that I had around my house. You know, since we're all kind of locked down with this COVID-19 stuff, really, you know, my area of the world that I get to shoot right now is my block, right? And my family is my subject. So I took some images of my family, and I think they turned out pretty good. I did notice some issues with the film where it kind of got scratched, and I'm not sure if it's my Leica doing that with the rewind, or if it was during the squeegee process or why, but somehow all my film seems to be a little bit scratched. I did see on the internet where one guy said if the pressure plate isn't quite right in the camera during the rewind process when the film goes through, it can scratch it, but not exactly sure what's going on there. But I just want to take you through some of the images that I captured. So this first one is my wife, Whitney. She's sitting in her chair. I do like this black and white, aesthetic and the pattern that came out behind her. But as you can see, there's kind of a big scratch. I don't know if you can see it very well running through, the middle of the frame. And I'm pretty sure it has to do with the way, like I said, the film is getting rewound or what. But I love this picture. She's nice enough to let me follow her around with the film camera and not get too annoyed when I want to take pictures of her. So that's good. This next image I caught here, I love the contrast of. It's just a pine tree. Again, it's scratched, and I'm trying to figure that out, but the contrast is really good. Everything kind of turned out. I love the way that this renders with this Ifrord film. The needles look really white, and then the background obviously is black, so that was pretty cool. It turned out way cooler than I thought it was when you're kind of looking all weird on the sidewalk taking a picture of the tree. So here's a self-portrait. So we have a gigantic mirror in our house, and we were doing some remodeling, so I had the mirror down on the wall. So I just went up and snapped a picture of myself. So that's that. This is my dog, Mika. She's a party poodle. And so party poodles are partly white, partly black. So it's not party as in like I'm going to drink. It's a party as in part of both things. So there's some contrast there. The image turned out really good. By the way, this is the first roll of film I've ever developed in my house in my life, and I got to tell you, it's an absolutely amazing feeling to actually see something come out on that film, because you don't think it's going to work. You're like, this isn't going to work at all. But everything worked really good. The images are really well exposed. The metering in my Leica M6 is, for being manufactured in 1980s, is just spot on. Like, the exposure just got nailed on the majority of the pictures. So here's another image of my wife. So she's, just again walking around the block with me, camera around neck, nice enough to just say, hey, turn around, let me take a picture of you. I think you're beautiful. And so she, she doesn't really necessarily like looking at images of herself. I don't think anybody really does, but I like taking pictures of her. And then this is my niece, Cameron, who's staying with me now. So she wanted her picture taken as well too. That one turned out really good. I love the contrast with the hoodie, black hood. So. And then this one is my daughter, Mara. So she's in awe, kind of staring at this little tree that's growing in my neighbor's lawn. So I just thought that was a cool moment to capture her just looking at that tree. Looking at it. She'll, if we still live here when she's older, that tree will be way bigger than her. So it's pretty interesting. This next image is my favorite one of the whole roll. I know what you're thinking, Pete, you shot 2 rolls of film and you only have 10 shots here. The other ones just weren't that cool. Just to be honest with you, they just, they weren't really all that great. With film photography, part of the joy is just not knowing exactly what you got. And then when you see that scan come through of a good photo, it's super rewarding that you caught it crisp and clean. But this next one is my favorite. This is my wife brushing my daughter's teeth. So she can brush her own teeth. She's 5 years old, but sometimes we're just not exactly sure she's getting everything right. So you got to get in there and just crank away with that toothbrush. And this is a picture of my wife doing that for her. But I love the contrast again, black and white. With black and white, what you want to look for, not necessarily, obviously colors and patterns aren't going to make much difference in your photo. So what you look at when you're shooting black and white is for areas of contrast where you really got to focus on the light, not so much the subject that you're shooting, but how does the light impact it? And that's really what a lot of photography is about, is capturing the light and understanding the light. And this one is really cool because we have these big fluorescent bulbs that are bouncing the light off the mirror behind, and then just having my wife kind of coming over the top here in that position. It has a really cool balance, cool leading line, and I love it. This is my favorite picture. So the film is all backed up. I got it all saved in my workflow and everything. So this turned out really good. So I think maybe on Film Friday, what I'm going to do is put these up on Instagram as well too, every Friday. And for the content, I don't really know where this is going to go. I don't know if this is something I'll continue to do all the time. But what I think I'd like to do is, my wife has a GoPro, and I'd really like to figure out, because she's a dance teacher and uses it for teaching, but I'd like to figure out how to get that mounted on my hot shoe of my Leica. And then what I'd like to do is just do kind of like a first person point of view of some street photography once the city opens back up and there are more interesting people to shoot. So I'd like to kind of take you guys through that process of shooting street photography in the classical sense, not architecture, but actual shooting strangers on the street, because that's really what I love to do. And so I'm going to try to do that, hopefully, once we get back to normal here. And then the goal will be to try to do, teach you something, or, have the type of content that I hope you'd like to see on Fridays, as well as the images. Shout out to my buddy Roger out in Hawaii. So Roger's out there. And I miss you, buddy. I did some of this for you because you've been complimenting me on my photography lately. And so you inspired me to just, continue to share this with the world. And just show the world that, film isn't dead, and this is an awesome way and a super rewarding way to make memories of your family, and it's good stuff. So shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for the inspiration, and I'll keep more of these videos coming for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll try to make more in the future. Thanks. Peace.